Oh, thank you very, very much, J-Real. Honestly, yeah, Rascal Jester sort of clowning on this series, and Crest kind of need to get their act together, gaming. Something like that. We're sat here 2-0, Oak. And you're muted again, which is great to hear.
Brilliant. I'm getting used to it. Okay, it's a brand
We're
new
getting
thing for
used to
me.
it. Well, we didn't hear much from you coming into this segment, and we didn't really hear much from CJ in that previous game. Didn't get a single kill, and they're going to need to change that coming
Oh
into
my
game
god.
three. It was just brutal, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, a 15k gold lead at 25 minutes is absolutely monstrous and really should be indicative of how these teams are playing on the day. It's not like I'm trying to put like I'm already burying Crest Gaming before they've done their last breath, but
Mm.
when you're able to find, I mean, it's a best of 5. Mentality is
Yeah,
very important for these as well. You lost your first game pretty handily. You come into second game like, okay, we're playing more traditional now. We're playing what we've been used to. The Leonas on
yeah.
comfort, the volley bears on comfort, and then you get slaughtered like that. Now I'm sure CGA, as you mentioned, trying to get that act together. What
This is
left? What scrapes or scraps do they have left?
this is the thing. Game two was absolutely meant to be comfort. That was meant to be them chilling in their PJs with a cup of hot cocoa, watching some Netflix, just chilling out. But then Rascal Jester are like their housemates coming through that have been down the pub, that have had a few, cause a load of noise, disrupt that sort of cozy nature. I mean that CJ sort of can't exist in that game in the way that they would like to. And yeah,
Yeah, and I'd really like to talk about what RMC noted, which was that
yeah,
that Herald, right? This was really the turnaround for me because it really shows the lack of unity in CGA compared to the total unity from Rascal Jester. It seems like they knew that this Herald would be contested. They had a
yep,
plan set out beforehand, and they fulfilled that plan by finding this forward fighting team fight. In return, CJ went, okay, well, the dragon's being taken. We have to swap for this Herald. Their time is late. They still opt towards it. They split up their damage on Hachimecha and the Herald itself when that Moonlight
yeah.
Vigil and some of the bonus damage could have been the key to picking up Hachimecha right at the start of that fight. Lack of unity and non-cohesive decision making really was the downfall for CJ in game 2. So game 3, big thing for us is not looking at comps. It's not looking
Yeah.
at what these players play. It's seeing them play cohesively with each other. That's
Yeah.
really what we'll be looking towards.
And you just got to rely on a little bit of that CJ magic, I think, to a certain extent, because it's a team
Mm,
that can just pull excellent performances out of a hat, can just be exceptional when they need to be. And
yep.
this sort of replay is highlighting what you were talking about there, that sort of Herald reset, Soul and Secret staying to grab this extra lane in the bot wave, get a little bit more of that experience onto the side, get a little bit more of that gold injection, and they were still able to get that rotate up towards the Herald to be there in time.
Yep.
So I think Russ, it's not just CGA failing to contest the objectives on the bot side and then opting into this swap, it's Rascal Jester actually understanding how long it takes CGA to play the map
Yeah.
and responding very, very well.
And really interestingly as well, they know that because they're ahead of the curve at this state in the game, Zyra Khan can stay on this bot side, pick up this plate, and then rotate towards his top side and play gold neutral. Because remember, this Leona and this Aphelios just reset as well. Soul and Secret don't have that luxury when this Herald gets stance for. And finally, I love that spectators highlighting this as well. The big thing was Nap gets his Mega Gnar at the worst timing.
Yeah.
Right as they start the Herald, this Mega Gnar runs out and then he gets put on that patient timer where he cannot build up that bar again for a certain amount of time. And that's really the final nail in the coffin for CJ for this game.
And I mean, we saw it briefly there, but there was actually a ward in that sort of top side bush that was spotting out the lane entrance to top side. So Rascal Jester knew that the roam up was occurring, and they were able to just deal with it very cleanly.
Yeah, and to be honest, from this point onwards, it's just the comp comes into fruition. You walk forwards. Soul and Secret had to play a little bit more patiently, but eventually we see Hachimecha just do his thing. And Hachimecha specifically was a player that had a fantastic performance this game. And by and large, we've noticed that Rascal Jester is playing more proactively than we expected from regular split results. But
Yep.
this has been doubled down upon by individual players in each game. Rascal Jester on board, cool.
Yep.
Hachimecha, game 2, phenomenal. The Singe from game 1 from recap, phenomenal. And who's it going to fall on for game 3? That's my big thing. Is okay. Who are they spotting next now? Are we going to see a bit of dominance? I don't
Maybe.
know.
I kind of want the big carry game from Sol. I want that. I want that huge performance where it's absolutely just him 1v9ing because it has been a more team style performance from the Jesters so far, and I kind of just want to see that hyper fed AD carry two-shotting people.
Yeah, I think so. I think the hybrid is our big final lasting point for CGA. It's going, okay, this player is. I mean, just to dissect that a little bit, I don't think Hybrid's really been put in the position he's been put in regular split. I don't think he's been given enough resources in these
No.
games because they've fallen into deficit so quickly. So, if anything, CJ maybe don't need to be on the aggression side of things. Maybe they just need to understand, okay, we're not on board at the moment. Can we play anything that's easier to get into mid game with?
Yeah.
That would be where I'd be looking towards in terms of draft.
I think we sort of double down on that backline pressure as well because we've seen that even in the straight up TV2, right? It's not going well for CGA. Hybrid and Nema are falling behind even in those scenarios. So it becomes even more important that Kasin is getting out onto the map and applying this pressure, particularly into the bot lane. If Kaito can also secure some of that bot priority too, maybe that's the way that CJ can play this out, get a win, get a foothold in this series, and start the arduous comeback into it.
Absolutely. And there's the final plays from or the early plays from Rascal Jester that really seal the deal in terms of the larger macro choices that maybe CGA can take a hold on. So the Zara Khan came in really early for that draft in game 2. And even though we saw the Leona Aphelios in response, in my mind, I was thinking, okay, well, that's kind of lane neutral. And then the Zara Khan finds the 2v2. They get the lead in the lane and it leads to first Drake and then leads to that rotate towards the top side. Is there anything where CJ can pick that's straight up winning? That's what we want now.
And the thing for me that was even more interesting is 2 of those early kills for Rascal Jester actually went on to Secret. And usually, not a big fan of getting gold onto supports early on because you really want that on carries. You really want them getting towards their early mythic buys. But when your support is as active as Secret is and is so pivotal to your engages, do you know what? Giving them a little bit of love, sharing a little bit of currency with them is actually something that I'm okay with.
Yeah, I mean, more traditionally we go towards, hey, carry should get the gold to spread that gold to the rest of the map because they're the damage source. But hey, you know what? If you can get it on utility and still spread that gold out, doesn't really matter too much. And finally, we're into drafts and a big adaptation here. CJ have taken blue side.
Yeah, they have taken it, but this puts Rascal Jester on the red side, which, as we highlighted right at the start of the day, 10-1 on, I believe, over the course of or 9-1 on over the course of the regular split. So definitely something that they have been favouring. We'll have to see how this changes up draft and changes up pick priority. CJ once again banning out that Karma, Tryndamere, Renata, same bans as the previous game. Rascal Jester targeting the Nautilus and the LeBlanc and the Zeri. It feels like they know exactly what they're doing. CGA gonna need something big with this first pick.
Yeah, seems like these bans are still dictated towards some of the earlier games. The Karma's really the only one that's really stuck throughout this entire series. And I do think it's weird that they're also banning the Karma because they're now on blue side. But nonetheless, we see it come forward and we see CJ opting towards the volley bear again. And I don't know what your thoughts have been on the volley there, Vassar, but I've been thinking it's been not really had the effect that we've been seeing normally from this pick. I think this pick definitely can have power, especially in the hands of Kasin.
Yep.
I just want to see this paired in Tangent with a couple of really priority bot lane picks to really find an avenue for CJ to maybe find a lead and the players they actually need it in.
Are we looking at a salty run back here, Oak?
I hope not. I think the Syndra could maybe slot in here. I would love to see it from the Kaito. It's his most comfortable champion. We've talked about Kaito not being the highlight for CGA. One of the weaker laners, plays net neutral, likes to chill and vibe, play for 15 minutes, very Rascal Jester light, you know. But I think this Rise hasn't really had the impact that we wanted from it. There have been occasional moments where we've seen that ultimate come in and be like, okay, well, they found the angle, but it's always been when they're already goal behind. This champion doesn't generate gold for yourself. I wanted to see more of a generated champion in the mid lane, but alas, Rascal Jester respond back with the Ahri, the Xayah, and the Rakan, which is, as you mentioned, maybe a bit of a salty run back to game 2.
I don't think that Rascal Jester have actually changed any of their picks from game 2, or even any of their bans so far, because it was the misfortune taken away in the second rotation in game 2 when they were on that blue side. And this is really throwing down a gauntlet to me here. It's like, yo, CGA, we don't think that you've got the adaptability. We don't think that you can deal with us even when we're just playing standard. And the fact that CGA have locked in 3 of the same picks that they were playing last game maybe indicates that. And if Hachimecha gets this Jarvan again, I am very, very worried.
The difference is here now, CJ have to lock in that top lane first. And this means that we could either see Nap once again on that volley bet, or we'll see him picking something up for himself, something like the Gnar once again, or maybe even the Renekton this time for him, which has been his most played champion thus far. This gives the opportunity for Rascal Jesters to counterpick that lane, and in return, maybe we see the third unique player from Rascal Jesters getting that highlight. This is the Akali, the Nap has had banned away from him so many times. It's something we've wanted to see, and he gets locked in. This is the kind of adaptation we needed.
This is brilliant. What I'm looking at here is Nap on a carry that has mobility and agency, and hybrid as well on this Samira. This is one of his personal pocket picks, one of the champions that he loves to play when the chips are down and when you need something with a lot of damage and a little bit of flair to get you good. Rascal Jester, I don't feel like they need to change much. I think a Renekton lock-in here, just running back the exact same comp that you had in the previous game would be fine, but they're going for another one of these lane-dominant picks that also has some team-fighting agency with the Saatrox.
Specifically, it works so well into the Akali because you don't need to auto-attack into that Shroud. You can just press Q if you know where she is. On top of that, having as much disruption in team fights as possible to limit Samira's ultimate usage, really important, especially with that Leona taken away from Rascal Jester. They really want to get some kind of CC to continually stop Samira from just being, okay, well, I can jump into 5 people and get a mass ulti off now. This does mean that Rascal Jester do opt in for a lane that's maybe not as Aatrox favoured. This could be a bleeding point for Rascal Jester. We've mentioned that Ino left alone often in this top side, and especially with the Akali coming in for Nap, something that we've seen in regular split and been very happy with the performance on. It seems like this player is definitely a secret carry player. This could be the game for CGA to turn it around.
Yeah, I don't want to inhale the cocaine too hard, but this is more the style that we wanted to see. Like the Nap is playing a carry, Hybrid is playing a carry, and it's not a particularly tanky composition from Rascal Jester. That Aatrox is going to have a lot of sustain. It's going to last a long time in fights. But if you're able to burst it down initially, then it looks a lot better for you. And then we're not even talking about how Ahri and Xayah, whilst they do have a lot of tools, if you're able to lock them down, if you're able to get a load of that damage into them, the health bar's not particularly big there and vulnerable to getting bursted. So I think that CGA, they've got some stuff which can do things, and doing things is exactly what they need to do, because currently they are down 0-2 in this series, and if they lose this game, they are out. That is their playoff run over before it really even begun. They're starting off stacking in this bot brush, and Nema will spot out this mid ward.
Yeah, and Nema's been a player for us this series so far that we've been struggling to find his role in. He's been on the comfort for 2 games now, on the Leona again, and last game didn't look so hot. This game even more so, because we're seeing a comp that we finally see a lot of cohesive fighting come from. Engaging, so pivotal into all of the fight. Basically, Rascal Jester, what they've drafted into is, hey, we can choose to fight or not fight with so many different champions. Ahri, Xayah, Rakan can all very easily go, oh, okay, no, I'm actually just going to opt out of this.
Yeah.
Right? And Aatrox is the same thing with his ultimate as well. This means that CJ need to be very clean with their initial engage, or they need to split off Rascal Jester and force them into these 2v2, 3v3 skirmishes. This puts a lot of emphasis on Nema to be able to find those solo flares when needed to really catalyze a successful fight for CGA. So we're going to be keeping eyes on Nema, not only in this 2v2, but also outside of landing phase as well, to really take advantage of the game that's been given to him.
Both junglers starting here on the top side of the map. Blitzcrank bot, big fan of the composition that Rascal Jester have put together. And I like that flexibility that you're sort of talking about. That feels like kind of Rascal Jester to a T, a team that wants to give themselves options both in their draft, but also in the way that they play out the game secret. Now looking for Hybrid lands, knock up, and a fair bit of damage actually traded back onto Hybrid. The W start from the Xayah and the Khan at the level 1 can be so much damage. Yeah, and a lot of Samira's trading tools are through usage of her, well, I say her passive, she has 3 passives, but her specifically, she can, Leona hits that CC, she extends that with the bullet knock up. That's where you find a lot of this Samira combo, as well as finding these kind of mini all-ins where you get to blade surge forwards. That's where we're going to be looking towards, and that's really level 2 for Hybrid and onwards.
so scary to be doing that though into the Zyra Khan lane, which we know is so strong.
Yeah, Hatchemetcha looking to secure an early lane advantage here. Hybrid not flashing away
Recamp.
from that knock-up, not flashing
No.
away from that one either. And it's kills in the bot lane, exactly what Rascal Jester want to see. Give him a lane advantage, and it becomes a hell of a lot more difficult to play against them. So brilliant start to this game 3 for the Jesters.
And this is Rascal Jesters down to a T. They'd love to hand check in bot side. Soul and Secret have done this throughout the split to go, okay, are you on board this game? Are you here? Are you mentally focused?
Are you awake? Is the monitor on?
They know, but that's what they do, and they do it there. Hybrid fails to cleanse or flash anything of value, and first blood gets given over to, this time, straight into Soul's pockets.
Yeah. And I mean, to a certain extent, Hybrid, you still got the summoners, so a replete play doesn't look as likely, but you did still die for first blood.
It is very scary to flash away from Jarvan EQ when he can potentially flash and follow up. So maybe he's just choosing to hold on to those summoners there for when this champion really gets online, which is around that level 6 mark. Maybe, we won't. He's had a really good series.
He's had a really good series. We'll let him have this one.
We're gonna brush past it. The wolf trolled him a little bit.
Yeah.
Faker.
The leash distances on those camps can feel weird sometimes. Because like sometimes
they need to have patience on the mini wolves as well.
I watch challenger players like leashing wolves from like Herald Pit or something, and they run away as soon as I take 2 steps away from them. Really don't understand how that mechanic works, but I'm a play-by-play. I don't need to. Hatch, moving to the top side, gonna take away this crab train.
I'm surprised that Hatch actually managed to get that scuttle there, because we saw that 3 camp go straight into bot side. A very inefficient clear from Hatchemetcha to secure that first blood. I figured Kassin would be on board to go, okay, well, I'm sorry, you're not allowed to, that's an illegal move. I'm gonna take some jungle now. But they've actually made relatively neutral and clear so far.
Yeah, and Hatchemetcha is going to be feeling very happy about, because we've seen that he knows how to pilot this Jarvan in the series, and Kassin's performances on the Volibear have left a little to be desired, to be perfectly honest. Hybrid and it feels like they're sort of stabilizing a bit more comfortable in this lane after those early kills, but really looking on Hybrid to be the main carry for this team, and it's not been a good start to the game for him.
Yeah, and a completely different playstyle from Rascal Jester. The first 2 games, they were shoving in these bot waves 24/7, trying to force CS deficit as much as possible and give Hatchemetcha the opportunity to look for early drakes. I think now that they know the Samira is such a good skirmisher, they're going, because instead we're going to freeze, we're going to opt out of early Drake, and instead we're going to just keep this wave in a scary position for Hybrid to play up towards, and in turn that gives Hatchemetcha as many opportunities to look towards bot and continue finding kills onto this player.
But the thing is, holding the wave in this position does mean that Hybrid and Nema can have first rotate, although Secret somehow getting first rotate out of the pit. Not sure it's going to matter too much. Recap.
Oh, level 6.
Actually moving over, thinking about using that Spirit Rush in combination with a chance to engineer a pick, but not going to happen. And CGA grab the first Drake of the game. This is a good start.
But Recap, because he has that 6, look how aggressively he's starting towards. He knows he has that Spirit Rush for safety. He's going to try and frustrate Kassin slightly, and also clear out any vision that CJ have set defensively in there. And that pairs really well with Hatchemetcha, who we already noted. He loves to clear vision. Within this early game, he really wants to be on point in reducing vision and creating his lanes, stabilizing his lanes as much as possible.
Well, we've got a big wave stacking into this bot lane. Hatchemetcha potentially thinking about a dive there, clearing out that ward in the tri-bush, but will spot out because then I imagine that's going to dissuade the action. But Nema is just going in on the bot side, and Soul has overextended. Kill in the 2v2 for Hybrid. Signs of life from CGA. This is what we want to see.
Absolutely, their kill goes straight over to Hybrid, and a fantastic punish because they saw Hatchemetcha. They know Hatchemetcha can't gank us because Sin's there, so they had the stable 2v2 with that wave shoved in, and they take best advantage of here. Keep eyes on Soul here because a bit of a misstep. Secret's already tanked a turret shot. Because Soul aggresses here, that passive comes in and the turret shot connects with Soul. That's why he gets chunked so low so quickly. He was just a little bit too far, and straight back into live. We see more fighting.
Hatch is occurring. It's another kill for Hybrid. We said that CJ needed to get things going around this bot lane, and they are doing it. First blood did go to Soul, but 2 kills afterwards for
Okay.
Hybrid, and now they're actually looking to take the 3v2. Kassin is going to be taken out because the health bars are just too low, and Hybrid still has the flash, still has the cleanse, can get out of this one. Won't want to burn them though, forced to.
Recap has the Spirit Rush.
Soul is actually rooted under tower. Recap throws out the Orb of Deception and does secure the kill. This series hasn't been bot lane focused, but that's where all the action's going down now. Double kill for the Ahri.
A different player in the mid lane. Recap on point with these roams to pair up so well with. So clearly Hachimecha and Secret had they kind of knew they role here. They need to make sure that Soul's still getting CS, but CJ know they can opt into this fight. Soul is not here yet. They take this TV2, and I think the big thing to know is that Kaito's on reset. So Recap has the opportunity to, if this fight goes extended, to rotate. They identify it here, and you can see even now, Recap already knows that they're playing for this extended fight. Recap is on the flank here.
Yeah, and he's able to come down. Nema and Hybrid taken low after that trading. Soul gets out with cylinders of HP, and then obviously a double kill secured for the Ahri. We are not done with the action, Oak. It is 8.5 minutes, and a Herald is on the table. Not too sure who picks that one up, but who's going to be going down? It's Kassin taken off the board.
And once again, Kassin trading a kill over to secure this Herald. Now, this time, it's a little bit of a different game state than last game. Whilst they have 2 kills compared to 5, just like before, this time those 2 kills are on Hybrid. And this is on a champion that can very quickly snowball those 2 kills into something more if they find a successful skirmish. And I think the big thing is getting him out of this lane.
Yes.
Get this Herald on bot side. Get some plates over to him. Potentially look for that first turret if it's even possible. And in turn, that can get Hybrid unlocked on map.
Do you know what? I want to see a dive as well. I want to see Kassin going down there with the Stormbringer. I want to see Kaito roll.
Who are you diving?
Who are you diving?
Who are you diving?
Who are you diving? It's quite a difficult proposition, actually. Yeah, thinking about that.
It is quite hard. I think the opportunity for that Stormbringer does mean that you can do these extended dives. We can burn that site ultimate early. But a lot of these chess pieces need to fall into place for that to really work. I think the bigger thing is maybe Hybrid and Nema can just look for more traditional gank through, get a pick onto Secret, because Soul no sums available means that Secret's going to be vulnerable trying to play defensively for him. And I think Hachimecha identifies this, and they also show. And once again, it's a bit of a bot game focus for both teams, kind of continuing the first 2 games as every member seems to be moving down. Oh, Solar Flare whiffs. Still looking for it.
Be going in though. Hachimecha is going to counter engage onto the Leona, who's going to be taken out at the start of the fight. The grand entrance used as Soul goes into the air, and Hybrid cannot quite find the kill. Kaito's going to join with a realm warp, but he just might be another kill for Rascal Jester. Instead, they opt onto Kassin, who is going to use the ultimate and gets a kill back, but not before he's taken down. Kaito now dove under the tower. The final also, the flash away. Rascal Jester lose their mid laner in the play, but still come out on top.
Recap's a monster, man.
He's insane.
Can he miss a charm, please? Very, very well played from Rascal Jesters. Now, they do give 2 shutdowns away to opposing members of CJ, but it's ultimately a 4 for 2. They also get 3 plates in total to Soul and a nice little recall. We're getting very quickly back into base. And once again, it's really the Soul show this time. Just very, very aggressive starting from CGA without the vision to really support that. And I think this was very sneaky. Secret clears that vision and Hachimecha immediately pass in. They do not have the vision that Hachimecha says that they think they're taking a 2v3.
Yeah, and that means that when Nema goes for that engage, it is going to be it is the Glacial Augment on this Leona, so doesn't have that Aftershock, doesn't have those bonus resistances, is a lot more squishy. And ends up going down in the end. And I love the way that Rascal Jester just continue to chain these kills together. They're not content with sort of winning out against the bot lane. They have to push it even further. Recap does end up paying for it with his life, but it's a couple of tower plates they were able to get onto Soul as well. CGA now looking for an engage around this Drake pit as Nema throws out the Zenith Blade and the Solar Flare, but they're not quite able to find Secret. And now it could be in a little bit of trouble. Hachimecha is going to catch out Hybrid in this Drake pit, who's going to go down before he can really contribute to the fight in any metric. Nema is dead as well, and it's a 3-for-0 for Rascal Jester that felt too easy.
And it's the same story as last game. This time it's around the Drake instead of the Herald. Kassin and the rest of his team opting towards his objective, not on the right timer. aptly punished by Rascal Jester as they take the fight. And now look at the score lines. Look at the items on board. Whilst we're seeing 2 mythics from CGA, specifically on Hybrid and Kassin, there is a certain member within the bot side Soul who is almost on 2 items at 12 minutes in the game. Absolutely monstrous scoreline, 7-1-5, a 600 gold bounty attached to him, and I think we're finally getting our 3rd key carry of the game so far.
Absolutely, and it's been different styles from Rascal Jester, which, looking to those later playoff runs, we've been talking about this throughout the series, means that you're going to be a bit more favoured. You've got that versatility. You can kind of play the map in whatever way that you see fit, and honestly, the big thing for CJ is just they've been unable to respond to that. They've been unable to throw these counter punches, and they might be getting hit in the face again as Hachimecha jumps over the wall looking for Kassim, but is actually being taken fairly low on the other side. Flagon drags himself out of there. A couple plates for Hybrid as well, so a small win for CGA, but it's still a car crash of a series for you.
Yeah, and this is really off the back of... I mean, we already knew that Soul and Secret were looking for a potential fight. The Solar Flare does come out. I think it's going to result in much, no. We already knew that Soul and Secret were the stars of this team. I personally said Soul was the best AD in the league, and that didn't go down very well, but I still support it heavily. We didn't expect Recap and Hachimecha to be this prior to this series, and as you mentioned, it's really alluding to a team with multiple play styles, and this is compared to CJ, who have been very much pigeonholed into Hybrid as the main carry, and it's going to looking for the fight.
For and engage, but it's just going to get turned around on them. Secret secures the first kill of the fight. He's able to flash away and keeps himself alive, but Kassin can look to trade a bit more damage back. But once again, it's that man from the mid lane. It's Recap roaming down, securing another kill for his team, landing a charm on Kaito, who isn't going to get chased down too much, although... saying that, I feel like Recap was thinking about that one, and it's been such a bot lane focused game, something that CJ have been so practiced on throughout the course of the split, but they haven't been able to make it work. They lose that tower, they're down 6,000 gold. Yes, they've got a couple Drakes in their pocket, but I really don't think that you're going to be able to contest the 3rd, and at that point, a lot of your win conditions are sort of going out of the window.
Now, they had the benefit of Blue Side. Blue Side is one of these a very easy opt-in option when you are in losing, because if you get the first 2 Drakes, well, then you have the opportunity to steal, and it's going to be up to Secret and Hachimecha really, and Recap to make sure that Kassin can never be in position for that, because they are 2 Drakes up at the moment. Because this bot lane being unlocked, it means Soul's now on map, going to look towards mid lane as well, and okay, so this is this is the Xayah build. This Xayah build already early curves, with the Eclipse being a very specific, you know, this is towards this 2-item spike. That's a Roller's Grudge as well. That Mana Immune already being picked up and already very close to the Mirror Mana means this isn't even the full extent. Give him another wave, another 2 waves, and this Mirror Mana is going to get unlocked, and that's going to be even more damage. Hachimecha just looking for the fight.
Yeah, very deep into the enemy jungle, but not taking too much damage, and honestly, kind of has the support to back this one up. Flags him, drags himself away again, and this is again the flexibility that we're talking about with Rascal Jester. They can pick and choose when they want to take these fights, and yeah, Hachimecha wasn't able to find anything there, but Kaito, being pressured out in the mid lane, forced to flash away. CJ lose their mid lane tower as well. Yes, you're going to be able to get this Herald potentially, but Rascal Jesters can rotate over, and honestly, I don't think that you win the fight.
Look, Kaito gets spotted out in this vision as well, so they know exactly where each member of CJ is, and that means they get to opt into whatever the fight they want.
Nema taking a bit of a chunk of damage there, throws out the Solar Flare, but only really connecting onto Ino, who is not a target that you need to be killing. Nap going onto the backline before Nema is even killed. It's just too quick, as an assassination is found, but I don't think Nap's going to be able to carry the rest of this fight, because Rascal Jester are just putting this gold lead to work. That's 4 kills. Nap's going to be focused now by Soul and taken out. It's an ace! At 16 minutes, Rascal Jester aren't an early game team, by the way. They've got 19 bloody kills.
And we're seeing shreds of hope come from CJ that are very swiftly puffed out by Rascal Jester. Almost there. Both Nap and Hybrid found the opportunity to very almost find a successful fight. And you can keep eyes on both of them here, as Hybrid specifically obviously slow stacking this fight, and Nap really finding a really, really good flank. But because of this gold deficit, damage isn't on board. Nema is so squishy, gets picked off so swiftly, and even though Nap isn't able to find damage in the backline, you think maybe, okay, can Hybrid find anything? 5 stacks right at the end, isn't able to find the sick one for the ultimate, gets picked off.
Yeah, and to add insult to injury, Hachimecha got the Rift Herald as well.
Oh,
CJ making plays
Spiking.
around Herald is not working out for you, and at least it's not gonna be a problem that is gonna persist throughout these playoffs, because it is looking very, very likely at this point that you are going to be heading home quite soon. And I feel like, Oak, the way that we've been talking about Rascal Jester and the way that we have been characterizing them, I feel like it has to change so much based off of what we've seen in this series, because we talked about this team being about Soul being this huge hyper carry, Recap and Hatchemetcha being more enablers, and don't get me wrong, they have functioned in those roles in this game, but they've also been dealing a fair bit of damage. There's also been these sort of soft carries for Rascal Jester, and I'm very excited to see this team go up against someone like a Sengoku or like a DFM, because they look very strong right now.
And this is the trifecta of the top 3 teams at the moment, where Sengoku, Rascal Jester, and DFM all seem to be beating each other. Sengoku normally had the lead on Rascal Jester, just through pure early game activeness, as well as Jet being undeniably the best mid lane in the split, in the league even. And this kind of throws that prediction off a little bit, because now Rascal Jester is showing very proactive early play. This could really limit a team like Sengoku, who are very mid-focused. If Recap is able to pull out, I mean, some of these more signature picks that we've seen here, but there's other stuff as well, like the Syndrome, which is brand new for him, and he's also been a player that's been playing unique picks all split long.
Yeah,
the versatility here, very good.
Talk about Sengoku being scared. I'm worried for DFM, because let's not forget that Rascal Jester do actually have a winning record against DFM in the round robin. They're 2-1 against them. Obviously, that third and final game was playing against Utip on top lane. Marimo subbing in at AD carry. So you can put an asterisk on this one, but even in the first game of the split, they looked decent, and that was back when this team really hadn't got it all together. So yeah, looking towards those later series is going to be very, very exciting. And now it's just about closing it out nice and clean. There's not really much left in this series. There's not really much left in this game. Soul is already on 3 items, 19 and a half minutes in. This tower's going to be taken out. That means no more outer towers for CGA, and it's just a slow bleed out now.
You know what I really like? He opted into the Collector's third now. A lot of people are a Soldier's Grudge fan now. You do get the slow on your queue, and specifically when you start seeing these armor items pop in, Soldier's Grudge is the more effective third item. But with the amount of gold lead that he's found himself in at the moment, I think I'd be surprised to see some of the squishier members of CGA even hitting that armor mark where Soldier's Grudge has more value. And that means that also with this Collector as well, it means that it also gives a little bit of insurance, because now he can opt in for another crit item if he needs to. He could pick up the Lord Doms instead and then get an IE as a final item if the game would to ever last that long. Very unlikely, but it gives him a little bit of insurance for late game.
Secret potentially caught out here. Will pop the quickness and goes into the Zhonya's to buy 2.5 seconds. Just enough time to look for the re-engages. Nemra is forced to flashback. TPs are going to be channeled.
TP.
Rascal Jester as a 5-person unit. CJ more interested in landing some of these flanks. If CJ lose a fight around here, it could just be Baron for the Jesters. And Nema not quite, Nap not quite taking that Q2 to the faces. Maybe a bit more impactful than he realizes in the moment. Rascal Jester, though, they're not waiting on their laurels. They're not waiting for stuff to happen. They're being engaged on currently by CGA, but they're buying so much time again. Recap goes golden, and he's able to reset out of the fight, able to jump back in and grab another kill. Hybrid trying to carry, trying to go insane, but not able to make it happen. And with 3 dead on the side of CGA, soon to be 4. As Soul takes out Kaito, Rascal Jester could just look for the end.
Yeah, and normally we've been looking straight towards that 20-minute mark. Rascal Jester have been looking towards his Baron. Instead, they find a very successful team fight. And as you mentioned, looking straight for the end here, Nap's going to try and buy time. We've got 5 seconds of Volley Bear.
Perfect execution. Deals a fair bit of damage to Recap. But it's not quite enough to take out the Ahri. And that means that the Akali is going to be going down. Probably has bought enough time for the rest of his team to get here to forge this base defense. So it will just be that top lane inhibitor secured by Rascal Jester, but it is not looking good for CGA.
Absolutely not. Inhib down now. Worst timer, as looks like Rascal Jester can go straight in for this reset. We're going to see the fight that really sets at the back foot of this. And this is Rascal Jester opting into a 4v2, and we saw inklings of how they play this earlier when we saw Secret use that stopwatch to really force this team to get the rotate in. Recap does the same thing here. Sonya's comes in on the perfect timing to get to buy Ino and Secret enough time to come rotate in and bring this into a 4v4, and with that gold lead, it's really difficult for CJ to even contest these fights. Very well played.
You just can't walk up.
No.
You just can't walk up. And as you secure your Ocean Soul point, Rascal Jester are just going to get the Baron. So yeah, maybe if this game lasts another 5 minutes, you got Ocean Soul and you're feeling pretty good about that. But Oak, I don't think this game is going to last 5 minutes.
I'm not too confident on it either, especially with this top lane inhibitor being picked up. This means that Rascal Jester can do, there are 2 options for them. If CJ are even able to get this wave shoved in on the top side quick enough, they can send 1 member there, quickly pull that back in, and then throw 4 or 5 members in the mid lane and get that. Doesn't look like CJ can even handle this wave in the top side so far. Only 22 minutes in the game. We're seeing really only 1 item from most of the players. Actually, just like 2 items been picked up by Hybrid and Kaito. Still not enough to really contest this early inhibitor, and it means that Hachimecha in turn just walks straight up. They pick up the second inhibitor too, and with the Baron in play, I don't think they even need to look for a third. With all the pick potential that we have, we saw the siege in game 2. It's replicated here. They can find 1 pick off and fight through that.
I think is they just got to wait for that next wave, and CJ recognize this, and they know that they need to go for the play right now. Nap trying to dance around the backline, trying to find an angle, some way that he can apply some damage to a key member of Rascal Jester, but he's not going to have the chance to do it. Casina's been forced away, and now the Akali's basically in a 1v5 there and gets taken out. First kill of the fight for Rascal Jester, and they may get a couple more. CJ trying to exit, trying to walk away, trying to get to the relative safety of their fountain, but they need to answer these Nexus towers as they are currently being focused.
One turret
left. Going to fall, and now Nema goes in. Goes golden, buys some time, but Rascal Jester can just reset the fight, and Kaito gets taken out incidentally. There's so much damage on this Zai, there's so much damage on this Ahri, and so much damage has been done to CJ Rascal Jester in one of the cleanest 3-0s I have ever seen secure the playoff victory.
What an absolute amazing performance from Rascal Jester. They cement themselves as the top 3 teams. We've been talking about it, all split now, how there's been Rascal Jester, Sengoku, and DFM as these upper level teams, and everybody else sits a level below them. We came into this series unsure of that. CJ, maybe they're the contention point. Hybrid, look at the stats he's been able to bring across, all split, even through their losses. Rascal Jesters have swept that aside, and through fantastic play through multiple lanes and multiple players, taken best advantage of how CJ's linear playstyle would normally play out, taking this series very swiftly.
It was excellent performances from multiple members of Rascal Jester. I think the fact that we weren't really, we probably said more about Soul in setting up how good he's going to be in popping off, because it was a lot of the supporting cast, those members that traditionally aren't highlighted in Rascal Jester, really stepping up. And of course, Soul is going to have some ridiculous damage numbers in this series. He always does that. But the real strong point for me for Rascal Jester is this was absolutely a team effort.
Absolutely. Secret was on point as always. I feel like this man is never really had one bad Renata performance in mid-season, and that's it. That's his bad performance out of the way. Everything is gated now. He can just go, yep, okay, I get to play good for the rest of the league. And Recap and Hachimecha putting on an early game show. Really textbook, honestly, especially from the Syndra game. The Syndra game was fantastic, but on the Ahri as well, these repeated rotates towards his bot side, not even because he can play something by himself, but just playing through his team. He knows, well, my team's going to aggress. I can be there to back them up. It plays so well for them.
The map activity from Recap was honestly beautiful.
Off the charts.
It was just great stuff. And for CJ, it felt like there was a little bit of a collapse in this series. I don't think that this was Rascal Jester beating a CJ when they're on, right? Because when they're on, Cassin is a bit more proactive. He's making a bit more stuff happen. And Hybrid isn't randomly overextending and dying in these unnecessary fashions. But fundamentally, this was Rascal beating CJ at their own game. And we're going to have to say goodbye to Crest Gaming Act. And we're going to have to say goodbye to you all for a couple of minutes. But Analyst Desk is going to be back in a few to break down that game, to break down that series. We'll see you in a couple minutes.
We are back, but CGA will not be. In the words of Shakespeare, where art thou, CGA? It's kind of the vibe that they had today. It feels like they didn't really fully show up at any point, but I think that that's also to do with Rascal Jesters. I feel like they had such a good early game, and well, Mabinogi, we're going to go to you first. We can just show the tower dive clip already. They were just consistently good in the early game.
Yeah, this is actually one of the better forms for CGA. This is actually one of. Oh no, actually, there's a different clip I'm thinking of. Yes, okay, right. This starts off. They play beautifully around the vision and bait this in, and it's really nice out of Rascal Jesters where they come up with this double kill and then have a 4v2 advantage, but they run into CGA's most important player, the bottom lane tower, as it's able to pick up a double kill off the back of this play, and this is what keeps CGA's hopes alive, but not really. You can see there, it's 4-9. They play a really nice tower. They play a really nice game. It gets a bit messy on the tower dive, but you're 2-0 up. You've got a massive lead already. You're kind of just willing to play it a little fast and loose and have fun with it.
I'd just like to
Yeah,
Sorry, I'd
go
just like to tag on here that the clip Mabinogi, I think that she was thinking of, was the first kill which came through, which was also involved the turret. And Crest Gaming in this game had 5 kills total. The turret contributed 60% of them. So
Yeah.
Well, that's a little bit of a sad statistic. But talking about some statistics, the gold lead. Obviously, we talked about early gold lead in the first 2 games. It was 3K at 17 minutes in game 1. It was 6K 17 minutes in game 2, and it was 8.5K in game 3. So Rascal Jesters were getting progressively faster throughout the series, and they were just looking so strong in this game. And I think a lot of that is due to Secret. You know, he is popping off. We have the MVP vote from all of our casters at the LJL OU, and we're going to bring that one up because look at these stats. Kashka, talk to me about some of these stats.
I mean, well, first of all, they are insane, and you guys can't see it on the screen right now, but okay, it's coming up. 62 is the KDA. He died once. That's it. And I mean, we've seen it everywhere in the engages in terms of kill participation. I don't believe we're tracking that, but it's going to be in the high 70s is my gut feeling. And yeah, the facilitator for basically most of Rascal Jester's success today, Secret, has, well, definitely stepped up is a bit of an understatement.
No, I'd argue it's probably much higher than 70%. He was in 26 of 27 kills in game number 3. He was in 18 of 19 kills in game number 2. So it's definitely 90s. A high percentage that he was in. And I know that we have a clip as well for Secret, so we're going to jump to that one too. And Kashka, take us through it.
Yep, this is basically the only death that Secret has had. And I mean, it starts with a herald call from CGA that I know we were all really confused about, you know, what are they trying to do? But it is a last-ditch effort. Already at this point, you are 6,500 gold behind, and there isn't really that much else you can try and do. And yeah, the engage coming in, Nab dives onto the backline, and he's able to take out Secret. That's great. But it costs everything for Crest Gaming, and they just lose the fight. I believe that is the ace coming through, and we all agree that this is basically the point where the game was truly over.
Yeah, no, truly over. And we were all in the call. We were all like, what's going on here? But to be honest, we wanted CGA to step up. We wanted them to be proactive. And RMC, do you feel like even though they risked it all and it didn't pay off, were they at least more proactive in this game 3?
yes, I would say that they were definitely more proactive. We saw Nema getting aggressive with that Leona. I love that Kassin, I think for the first time this series, actually tried to make early game action happen. Did it work? No. But there was an attempt, and I think part of it does stem from the draft. I know that we were wanting to touch a little bit on the draft here because CGA finally went on the blue side for the first time this series, and the first half of their draft, they just did the salty run back, which I thought was really weird because you take blue side for first pick, and what did they first pick? Volibear. They could have taken that on red side. And then they picked the Samira and Akali, which I wasn't a fan of when it came through. I thought this would be better on the red side, but they did prove me wrong with their execution. They did fix some of their issues. The problem is just that they had other issues, and Rascal Jesters today, on this day, just looked untouchable.
Yeah, no, they truly did. And keeping on the pick and ban here, obviously Samira, the first time we've seen it, Mabinogi, it's quite an aggressive champ. Were you at least excited to see the Samira?
I feel Samira is best suited as that R5. So yeah, definitely would have been a lot better on if they'd gotten for the red side once again. And I feel like you definitely saw a bit of it where it struggles in this sort of matchup. It jumped in, tried to get one ultimate. I think I saw one ult the entire game from them, and it was just completely removed by the Featherstorm from Sol. So wasn't a huge fan. I definitely think Samira can work, but I don't think it was set up to do anything at all. It didn't help that Secret was smashing the entire game. So.
Yeah, Kashka, we talked so much about the top lane Nap versus Ino. Do you feel like this Akali added more, or do you think again it was just another Ino victory?
I'm gonna lean towards an Ino victory. I mean, we haven't really seen Nap do that much. I don't want to pin it all on one player, but this was kind of just a walkover from Rascal Jester, and Nap was not able to alone stop that.
Yeah, 3-0 there was the final score for Rascal Jesters, which I believe only Mabinogi was the correct prediction here. I think we all had 3-1, except for Mabinogi. But
y'all are cowards.
I mean, I was actually
tried to
going
play
with
it safe.
3-2.
Hedging your bets.
No, it is fair to say. I will say Pennywise energy was high from Rascal Jesters. They just showed CJ all of their worst nightmares. And if we kind of look forward, I know that we got a graphic of basically the next few matchups, how this will basically affect the playoffs. And we can see, okay, Rascal Jesters already coming through. Obviously, there is the question mark that was, did they maybe deserve to be in the Juggernaut match? Obviously not through the wins they got in the full series, but Burning Court, SoftBank Hawks. Let's have a quick chat about that one before we finish off with some Rascal Jesters. I want to get your early predictions. Who wins Burning Court out of SoftBank?
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
Yeah, I think Rascal Jesters versus CJ, all of us expect the Rascal Jesters to win, middle caught, hopium aside. So that one was easy. Burning Core SoftBank Hawks is complicated for myriad reasons here. I'm going to call it 3-2 for Burning Core, but I think it's going to go full 5 games or it's not no, and it's going to be a fiesta.
What about you, Kashka? What's your prediction for Burning Court SoftBank?
I agree it's 5 games. I'm gonna lean towards Hawks here. I think, I would just like to see them make it out of this match. But yeah, it's gonna be 5 games. Not particularly strong on my leaning towards Hawks.
Mabinogi, your prediction on this one?
I might lean slightly towards Hawks because I still have faith. I have a little bit of faith in what I've seen out of Kanatu and Reiner in the past. You have a world champion on the roster. That's going to count for something, right? I would say 3-2, and it could go either way, but gun at head, Hawks.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll have to see who does soar through the sky. Is it going to be the Phoenix? Is it going to be the Hawks? We will find out. Looking back at today's action, Rascal Jesters, they came out unsurprised. Well, no, majorly surprising. Very early game focused. RMC, obviously, it's not really what we predicted. We talked about it so much in the pre-game about how we expected it to be a late game kind of situation. But do you feel like this is just their new style of gameplay, or was it specifically against CGA?
I think this is just the evolution of the style that they already had here, and it's terrifying because while we are saying that Rascal Jesters look like a good early game team today, I do want to highlight that their mid to late game was immaculate. Once they got that lead, they never gave it up. And even if they fall behind, even against, Sengoku, who they've struggled early game against, even if DFM get an early lead, I think that Rascal Jesters in their current form are still going to be terrifying to face in the mid to late, which is still their wheelhouse here. And it's going to take a better team to push them to that state. But with this sort of early game here, it's going to force every other team in the playoffs still to step up to try and match. Because if you fall behind, they have an 85, I believe, 86% win rate when I hit at 15 minutes right now.
That is a stat and a half. And Mamanogi, do you feel like Rascal Jesters have kind of just been slowly growing? And we saw the 13-1 in the second half of the season, or the second and third round robin. Now they're coming out dominant 3-0. Do you feel like this team is just scaling for that late game?
They're sort of swinging back into sort of that sort of form we saw last year, where they were able to take DFM to, they were able to take them down in the summer playoffs. Weren't able to win the split, unfortunately for them, but. Yeah, I think they've finally sort of found their groove into the back end of the split. They found a solid style, and now they've expanded on it. Now they've picked up this early game, as RMC was saying, and that should make them a very scary threat. They already have the winning record against DFM. Can they carry it through to the victory? Who knows?
It's definitely a big question on the minds of everyone. Kashka, were you also surprised at how versatile Rascal Jesters were? Because we came into this saying, okay, bot lane, they're going to play around bot lane, but it felt like, recap, I know, they just kind of had an amazing series today.
Definitely being taken aback by this surprise. Sure, let's call it that. I think I agree with the sentiment that RMC put out, is that this isn't like they have swapped their playstyle. They have grown. Straight up, this is just an improvement from what we've seen in the regular season. And yeah, they have surprised me. They have looked really clean. Looking forward to what they will do in the rest of the bracket.
Okay, now a question for all three of you. We'll go left to right, so RMC all the way through to Kashka. Is there a team that you think Rascal Jesters needs to be worried about moving forwards, or do you think it's only going to be DFM in the finals potentially if they get there?
Well, like Oak and Middlecott were saying, right? Sengoku has traditionally had Rascal Jester's number here, so I do think they'll still need to worry about Sengoku first. And DFM, even when Rascal Jester look their best, there's always the question in the back of your mind, right? How good is DFM really, especially in the best of 5? We've only seen them best of 1s. And Ebby is having the split of his life right now as well. So I still think DFM right at the top, and Rascal Jester Sengoku, I am looking very much forward to that rematch to see how the early game plays out and whether or not Rascal Jester can finally overcome this nemesis they've had in the regular season.
Yeah, indeed. And then for you, Mabinogi, is there anyone that you think will test them? Obviously, Sengoku, DFM, they are definitely up there. Do you think maybe Burning Core or the Hawks could potentially be a problem?
No. Not after that. Like 13-1, and they've only gotten better, right? So they're just so clean. They only lost 2 Sengoku. They're comfortable. They're clean, and they really are. They don't have to worry at all outside the top 3. I mean, give them their due diligence, of course, but.
Yeah, Kashka, do you kind of repeat that message as well? Do you feel like that's a very similar statement for yourself?
Yeah, I will also give you one extra. I'll say I will change my mind only if either Burning Core or Sengoku win their series 3-0 in a very clean fashion. Then I'll be like, okay, maybe it's gonna be a competitive series. Unless that happens, I think Rascal Jester are just sailing into playing the loser of the Juggernaut match, and we go from there.
Yeah, no, definitely. It does feel like that very dominant performance from them today, and some obviously surprising tactics the early game, plus the versatility across the map. We played the game, Mess or Impress, before we start this series. Let's do it again, but this time obviously we have all of the data, so we're going to go left to right once again, RMC all the way through to Kashka. We'll start with Impress. RMC, who was your Impress today?
Recap. Has to be recap. As was grounded to me by the caster desk there. Yes, I was horrifically wrong. I apologize. Recap is a beast when he decides to stop sandbagging, and his Syndra play, especially that game 1, shocked me. His Ari play as well. He's roaming better than we've ever seen before, punishing over and over and over again. I don't think Game 3's bot lane would have gone as well for Soul and Secret if Recap wasn't constantly down there punishing Hybrid and Emma.
Who is your Impress today?
I could just go Recap again, but I'm going to say Secret. He did step up and perform above my expectations. I expect him to be good. I didn't expect him to be that bloody fantastic. And really, just for someone different, because Recap is the blatantly obvious choice, because that is a different player. So Secret.
And then for you, Kashka, as well?
Yeah. Yeah, just to highlight how big of a team effort, I will go with my personal one as Hachimecha, because coming into this match, I said it should be Kassin with the early game, edge. No, it wasn't. Hachimecha absolutely took the torch to Kassin, was able to find the fights together with Secret, so yeah, my impress was Hachimecha.
Yeah, and I think all of the rosters really did impress. I will also say shout out to Ino as well. Obviously, Soul keeping it standard, keeping it very, very strong as per usual. But Ino, I think, also kind of impressed me as well, considering that we thought there is the potential for them to maybe use that as a weakness against Rascal Jesters, and that clearly wasn't found. And now going in reverse order, Kashka, you can kick us off. Who was your mess today?
Listen, I'm not even gonna hesitate on this one. I think he did not step up. There were some questionable decisions made in the first clear. I know in the game 2 we both wanted to see him on the Volibear stick it up to the Jarvan. Didn't happen, and unfortunately that's not the same Kassin that we've seen take wins for CGA.
And then for you, Mabinogi, who was your mess today?
Kissin. Nemo wasn't great, but he at least tried. Kassin just might as well have logged off, and the team might have done better. It felt that bad from him. He just didn't do anything, but except he wasn't there. He wasn't a jungler.
Fair enough. And RMC, who was your mess vote today?
My prediction for mess was Kaito, but as much as Kaito was invisible, Kassin was very visibly making mistakes. So I have to agree with Kashka and Mabinogi there. I'm on that Kassin, the Kassin train right now.
Yeah, no, that is completely fair enough. But that is going to be all from us. Rascal Jesters pick up the 3-0 win over CGA, and they put themselves ahead into the next step of playoffs with absolutely blazing colours. They are looking super strong, and they are definitely a team to watch out for. We will be back on Friday, 10 a.m. GMT, Burning Court versus the Hawks. You do not want to miss that series. The winner of that will take on Rascal Jesters later down the line. But thank you very much to the desk that come through a good time today. And also shout out to the two casters that took us through those games. So shout out to Middlecourt, shout out to Oak. And that is going to be all from us today. We'll catch you soon.